wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About podcast. Sorry, Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith, and I wanted to do um, an exclusive episode for the folks that, always want to hear how my networking events are and all that good stuff. And I thought to myself, why not bring on another guest that is able to give their perspective as well about EYL? So Dale, wagwan.
Not much, just here on a beautiful Sunday, sun shining.
Right? Woo! It is once again a bun and cheese weekend. I'm just doing enough pre-recordings and all that good stuff. So salute. And it's funny because even though we didn't go on the same day to EYL, we were able to connect because like what my goal was to network as much as possible. And like I was like, yo, who's been going to the events? Who's hashtagging and all that stuff? And I was able to find your IG and I was like, yo, come
You know,
true.
link up.
Right?
I was
Because
doing the same thing.
and I was like, I just I really wanted to get a different perspective because you were actually able to meet them, even though I was trying to be a creeper that weekend and try to meet them. But you were able to get, a lovely photo with them and all that stuff. And welcome, Dale. Tell the folks who you are. I was gonna say who you is, but who you are.
Either works, either works. My name is Dale. Just into financial literacy and business, but haven't always been. Just in my older years, getting a bit more wise and realizing how important it is. So now I'm just kind of on a mission to share that importance and hopefully get the younger people into it earlier. Because if we knew what we knew now, when we were then we know
Right?
what life would look like right now. So I call myself a Black wealth advocate is how I like to
Nice.
refer to myself as. So
I love it. I love it. And since the event, I call myself the best personal finance trainer there is. And I see that we're
yes,
wearing the same thing that we wore to the event. So I love that. I think that's even like one of the things I love. I was like, okay, you're branding yourself and you're showing people who you are with showing your brand. So that's
yes, yes.
big things.
Yeah, man. It's like we have there's so much things that we could do. Like sometimes we feel stuck in just our job and different things, or we have so much ideas. It's like ideas, but nobody oftentimes we don't want to take a leap to actually try to do something. So
And
I'm
execute.
into it. Yeah, I'm into it. I mean, even this whole thing that you saw the Instagram you saw of mine, the Black Wealth Collective, that was
Yes.
just me over the past, what do we know? Over the past 3, 4 years, I always
Hmm.
share so much information about financial literacy just on my personal
Yeah.
social media. So I was
Hmm.
like, why not just make a brand out of that? I'm like, I'm doing the work anyways, sharing anyways, helping people
Hmm.
do their first investments or sign up with brokerages and all this stuff. I was like, why don't
Nice.
I make something around that? So a
That.
business partner and myself came up with the name and the concept and just been just been starting to make it go. And of course, EYL announces they're coming to the city, like fresh off of me saying, let me start this thing. So I was like, in just
Nice.
go mode. I was
Perfect
like, okay, it's
timing.
perfect timing.
Okay. And how long have you been listening to them? Because it's been they started their podcast what, 2020? Like just
No,
before.
their podcast started in, I believe, 2019 or late 2018,
Okay.
but the Market Mondays started
Correct.
in 2020. So I would say I was watching their stuff from 2019, just
Mm,
sporadically here and there, because they always have like good guests on that talk about different businesses. And that's one thing I loved about their show is
yeah.
that it wasn't just focused on one thing. Like they'd have someone that you know, does mobile home investing and someone
True.
that knows how to do credit and somebody that built a clothing brand from scratch. So it's always like a good place to go. One, to see Black
Mm,
excellence, like people that are doing really well. And
mm,
then two, to actually get the information, people actually being transparent about how you do things. Cause I think that's the piece that's always missing. Like we might see somebody out in a Rolls Royce or coming out of this big house. And it's like, what does that person do? That's always the
yeah,
question, like, what did this person do? And it's like you try
exactly.
to ask, and everybody's like, it's
Hush,
really
hush,
hard
like
to
nah,
get
nah,
that
nah.
info. Yeah, so I think that transparency that they brought to entrepreneurship and business and investing was like very important. And
True.
then fast forward to 2020, like you said, like March,
Hmm.
I saw that episode with Ian, and like that was episode 70. And that was like a
Yes.
major, when I saw that episode, then I
Hmm.
was in every week. I was in, I was in, I was in, and just started, like you said, creeping the pages of their guests and then getting into Him 500 and Circle of CEOs and like all these different people that are doing
Yeah.
like things on a level that I I haven't seen it in our city yet where you have like 10, 20, 50, you know, black
Well,
business people that come together and do stuff every week and stuff like that.
yeah.
At the time, I
Hmm.
never
Hmm.
hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
So
Well, I have to give shout outs to folks that have because I have been in the personal finance world for a while and I do go to like different events like BBPA. They hold things. There's like experience, life, community services. So there are Black Moms Connection. There are places that have it. I am hoping to see more Canadians being able to, come together, like us to come together and show this stuff. So
yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that because I feel like we do have or like there's just like other folks that are I'm not gonna say like um it's just small groups that
yes,
want to make an impact and they
yes,
just haven't been able to uh sh- see or be seen to like everyone, especially the younger folks. Us
yeah,
millennials, we want celebrities and things.
yeah,
So I definitely want to say that we do have them. It's just that we need to search for them as well sometimes,
yeah,
just so they're not hidden or not noticed. So I just want to give
right.
shout outs to them.
Right. And that kind of leads into this whole idea of this event that we both went to. It's like,
Yes.
so I see that this event is coming here and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And then it sells out super quick. And I'm like, there's so much people in the city that are interested in this. So that was the first thing that I was like kind of caught me off guard. So I'm like
Mhm.
going on to the venue. I'm like, how much people hold in this place? How is it? Like I was that interested. I'm like, how much people even hold in this place that it's sold out so quick? I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's a couple hundred. That's why it's sold out. So I look and it's like capacity is like 1,000 and something or whatever. So I'm like 1,000 people and it's sold out like that.
Yeah.
Then here comes the second show, sold out
And
again in a couple of days. So now my excitement even isn't as much about okay, it's EYL. Now my excitement is wait a minute, there's over 2,000 people in the city that are
that
that
want.
serious about this stuff that they're willing to spend the money to
Mhm.
come sit here.
And
When
and
so now it's shifted to who's there, who's gonna be there, is what
mm,
started to excite me versus like
same.
just yeah, I get to see EYL or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I didn't go in depth like that, like the venue and stuff, but I was like, okay, okay. Someone, it's sold out. I'm pissed because I missed the first one. I was like, I'm pissed. I'm not missing the next one because everyone's sending it to me, right? Because they know that like, oh, Kavil does da 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 da. I'm like, guys, you don't even know how I'm trying. Or I was trying to go with my team and we didn't like have we didn't know which like section we wanted to be in. And then I'm trying to get with other folks too. I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get with a group of people to go to
yeah,
this thing. And I think that's kind of complicated when you're trying to go with so many people to
absolutely.
sit in the same area. That's kind of tricky. So then sold out. I got cheesed. They said there's $50, like sorry, there's 50 seats more. I went, I looked, I was like, guys, like, let's get in. Saw the price, I was like,
Yep.
especially when I saw what the prices were before, I slipped or I fumbled the bag, saw that, and I was like, but then once they brought out the second night, I was like, okay, you know what? I fumbled first. I'm not
Yep.
fumbling again and
Yep.
stuff. So I was happy about that. And then when they sold out the second time, I was trying to look for like networking events to reach because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's sold out twice. There must be people that want to, network and stuff. I was like, all right, let me see. But
Yeah.
I don't know for you, Dale, were you able to find any networking events?
No, I wasn't. And to me, like that was a major missed opportunity in my eyes because walking through there, I don't know how it was on the day you went. I'm sure it was pretty much
Mm.
the same because I saw videos from both days.
Yeah.
And there were like 100 conversations going on from you walk through the door back to
Mm.
the auditorium and in between at the vendor booth. And
Yeah.
I'm like, man, there could have been a whole other event just from people that were here trying to
Right?
network. Like I was talking to strangers in line, and it's like I'm in this conversation, I'm overhearing this other conversation that I want to be a part of. So I'm kind of like seeing if I can get out of this one because I want to try to go connect with what this person's talking about. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is crazy. Like to let people have an understanding of, like you said, the lack of um not transparency, the lack of knowing who's in the city doing stuff. I'd never heard about Isaac before until seeing him on that stage. And
Really?
he looks like to be the biggest developer we've ever had come out of the city that's black. And I'd never heard of him before.
You
And
know
this
what?
is a person that watches every episode that Earn Your
Yes.
Leisure has, um, other platforms as well, like their other shows, and like every day this is what I do.
Yeah.
But I could tell you 100 people in the US,
Yeah.
but right here at home.
Damn.
And that's what was so crazy to me. Even
Yeah.
even
Sher
Sherrod.
Sherrard McQueen. I
Yeah,
honestly, I didn't know who he was when he was. I was like, because I thought I was gonna see Isaac, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like,
yeah,
okay. And then I seen him, and I was like, okay, I'm not mad because he dropped a lot of gems. And it's
yeah.
just like, dang, I wish I seen Isaac, but I appreciated what Sherrard did as well. And he's from what, MV Developments? M5V,
M5V.
sorry,
Yes.
M5V
Yeah,
Development.
yeah.
And he spit some things, but I have to say there was someone, and I'll shout them out, Lola, OK2 Beauty. She tried to hold a networking thing before the event. So I reached and because I was like, okay, finally, a networking thing. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the turnout didn't go as planned for her, but I wish that just how you were saying that people were there having conversations, I wish they had gone to her event and then also, because it was right across the street from the
See?
event. So, like, my question is, what will it take for us to come together and have a networking thing? because it was free.
Right. Right.
Everything's free.
Yep.
So like, what's the excuse? But I'm glad you were able to mention that you didn't know about him, but you found out how amazing it is, because I've been watching him from since 2019 or 2020 with the
Right.
pandemic. He's been on like different platforms or network. So
Panels
I
and stuff.
yeah, so I'm like, I like what cuz he's trying to build the community and have
Yeah.
affordable housing, and so does Sherrard as well. He's doing it as well, but I think I'm not saying that I know both of them personally, but
Right. Right.
when he was talking, he was suggesting or giving advice to folks that want to get into wholesaling, which I never knew. Wholesaling, to talk to like mid-sized developers
Right.
to jump in. And it's crazy because I think out of the whole show, the only thing I didn't know was like real estate aspects, because I'm more in like the personal finance. If it's talking about mortgages and stuff, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna stay in my lane
Right.
and ask the professionals to talk about it. But I actually liked when they brought on someone Canadian to talk about that stuff, because I don't think
Right.
they would have had enough time
No.
while they were there to do enough research, right?
Right. And I think that's what makes their platform special too. If you follow them, you see
Hmm.
every time they go to different cities, they always seek out like
The
the
people.
people out of that you need
Yes.
to talk to in every city. So like they're very, and it's a good lesson for people. Like they're very intentional about like knowing their audience and then
Hmm.
having, something that they want to do. Like they're not coming to our city just to try to make a quick bag off of us and then hop to the next city. Like they're
Yes.
coming to these different places because there's a need for it and they want to highlight people that are from where you're from so that you see that, you're not just watching YouTube and seeing people in another city. Like this is stuff that's happening right in your
That's
city.
that's
And
a good
what
analogy.
was what was crazy to see was even with Sherrard, I only
Mhm.
became aware of him maybe 2 months ago, and
Okay.
then now, after going to the event and doing what you did, I was like seeing who was reposting M5V, who was reposting EYL and stuff like that. And I started to see a slew of people.
Yes.
And now there's people like I came across this other young lady. I can't remember her name right now, but she
Mhm.
was mentored by Sherrard. And then she
Nice.
too has her own development company, boss lady with their own
Mm.
development company now because she came up under him. So it's like
Yes.
there's all this stuff happening in the city. Um, I personally think it's we have a smaller market, obviously, but
Agree.
if you look at the way that Earn Your Lead, and of course I keep referring to them because it's the topic of the day. If you look at
Mm.
the way that they handle their social media and their marketing, I think that's a big piece. Because even when I started to look for Sherrod and Isaac and stuff, I was able to find stuff on YouTube, but it's like
Hmm.
buried. It's like stuff that has like 50 views or on podcasts I've never heard of. An M2M podcast, never knew it existed. See what I'm saying?
I
So
was so shocked. I was like,
yeah,
the only podcaster or I guess I'll say social media influencer was the Black is the New Rich. Oh gosh, I don't want to say it wrong. Corey, Black is the New Rich. I've been following him, and I seen that he met 19 Keys, and I was like, Walkside,
yeah,
Wallan.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I was like, yo, how is this happening? Why am I sleeping? And I didn't
Right,
even know which day they were coming in.
right.
Like when I seen them come in the Thursday, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping." I was like, "Where are these guys?" I was people wanted to call me a stalker, but I call myself an opportunist.
Gotta be.
I wanted to see them and I wanted to just connect with them. The, if I didn't have an episode on the Saturday, I would have been at OVO
Right.
trying to connect with them
At
and
the
stuff,
athletic
right?
center. And again, I think that's another valuable lesson, right? I feel like our culture can be a little bit different. Like my background, my parents are Jamaican. I'm not sure
Same,
yours
same.
same. Okay, so in our it seems to me,
Mm,
and again, I'm not saying I know, this is just my opinion, that
yeah.
like for us in our culture, it's not really common to be reaching out to other people, like asking them personal stuff or trying to,
Mm-hmm.
it's always more of a, you have
Hush,
to build
hush.
up your thing and make sure you're doing good and take care of your family. And it's all you, your family, you're this, you're that.
Mm,
So there's like a sense of pride we have, like where I might see someone out and I'm wondering what they do, but I'm not going to ask next big man things. Like I'm not going to go ask a next big man what he's doing type thing.
yeah,
And for me, I think we have to get out of that because it like there's so much things we could do if we were more collaborative. I'm not saying there's a lot of people in the city that obviously from the event I see that do work together and do things, but like you said, it's
yeah.
in these little pockets. If we have 2,000 people that are interested in that type of stuff, if each of us have
That
10 bands, $100,000, you know how much money that is to do stuff? Like we could be doing, not saying
so
we
many
don't
things.
need EYL, but in addition to that kind of stuff, we could be having our own gigantic conventions once a year around it, just with the people we have right here. Like we didn't necessarily
Absolutely.
need EYL to come into our city. I love that they did because it definitely sparked something. But I hope from
Yes.
that, like
It
what we get from
sparks.
it is exactly people saying, no, we really need to, like I saw someone post, there's a unquenchable thirst for that type of event and information in the city. So how do we service that is like the main thing I've been thinking. So for
Yeah.
me with this little IG and stuff, I'm trying to say, okay, I'm gonna be intentional about seeing who's in the city doing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
reposting their stuff, sharing, commenting to see if other
Absolutely.
people do the same. So now that someone might see something on my page, like from your page, and then now go to your page, and then
Yes.
it's like the
And
little
then
things that don't,
connect.
right. It doesn't cost you no money, just a little bit of time. You're already on the phone, you're already on IG. Sometimes the smallest things we can do to start to connect stuff. Another example of that, I saw Ian post, he's looking for a videographer. I have two
Ooh.
videographer friends. So right away, I
Yes.
like tag them and say, look,
Mm,
this guy, they don't even know who he is, but I'm telling them, like, listen, trust me, it's a good opportunity. If you can
true.
link with him, do it. And then at the same time, I DM Ian with their page showing that they do the work. And he actually responded. He's like, thanks for
Oh,
looking
he is a
out, King. But
responder.
yeah, exactly. But he had already found someone. But lo
Yeah.
and behold, one of my friends that I tagged in the first place, I go to the event, first person I see, he's in there with his camera.
Yes, you meant
He's
yes, yes,
like,
yes. I saw
yeah,
you.
on location. Yeah, my
Mm,
guy. He's like, I didn't even know what you're talking about, but funny enough, I'm still here because people called me out to record their interactions and stuff like that or whatever. So
that's that's
it's
really
like
dope.
simple referrals, like just
Uh-huh.
look out for your people.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you were able to see it because and they were able to get individuals like in the city because that
Right.
even gives them more exposure. And exposure is key, right? Wow, that's dope. Cause and you know what? I gotta say, I love Ian because he was responding every time. I was like, "Hey,
Yep.
King, wanna?" But I'm sad that he mashed up in foot because
Yeah,
dang,
yeah.
that would have been legit like ideal. Like I probably would have been like going crazy. I'm like and stuff.
But yeah, man, Ian's with it. Like I said, from I saw him on that episode, I started to like follow him and follow his personal page and like 2020. We're going back and forth a bit, but
Hmm.
we're getting the full story, so it's okay.
Yes,
Just gotta put it
absolutely. Full
together.
story. Y'all,
Um,
y'all listening.
but yeah, so going back to 2020, we
Mhm.
see Ian and he
Yes.
says Red Panda. So right away, I join Red Panda because I want to see what they're
Nice.
doing. We see
Hmm.
Trapper. I get
Yeah.
Trapper's program because I want to see what he's doing. We see EYL University. I join EYL University just to
Nice.
see like what they're doing and what's going on. And it's like there's a lot of yes, they do the YouTube episodes for free, but if anybody's ever wondered like what would be the point of joining some of these communities or getting into some of these programs when they're doing so much for free,
Yeah.
you get a more personalized, it's like more access. So for
Yes.
example, Ian would do these calls like once or twice a week where everybody hops on a Zoom, was free to ask him questions directly. Like you can't get that watching YouTube. Like that
On
might be
YouTube.
something that I need to work on specifically, that now I can ask the man himself what his
Yes.
opinion is or whatever. And
That
so I
makes
think
sense.
that's part of what you get. So sometimes we're hesitant to, oh, this man's just trying to charge because he's trying to make up money because they don't understand what the value might be. So I think that's something to think about as well. Same thing with EYL. Had you been like,
Mhm.
I'll be full transparent. My thing expired. I didn't get to renew it. But had you been a
Understood.
part of EY
Hmm.
University, Him 500 did a meetup on the Saturday for people that were in. So that would have been a
Okay.
free event that you could have went and had conversations with Him 500. EYL would have been there,
Yes.
and it would have been a more intimate setting with fewer people, and you'd have a greater opportunity to be able to network and really pick these guys' brains and get some added value that you
Hmm.
might not have gotten at the event. Like I
On
was sad that Him 500 never spoke because he's so powerful with marketing and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And
I saw
to
MG, the mortgage guy, was
Yep,
there
he was
as
there too.
well,
Yep,
and I
yep,
was like, oh, I recognize him.
yep,
And
exactly.
even what's the third guy that's part of EYL? I want to say Mark, because it's is it Mark or
Mark, what does he do? So you have the
he's on the background. He's in the
Yeah,
background. So
yeah, the
yes,
the
yes,
taller guy. Yeah, I can't remember. He
yes,
was
yes.
he was handling the merch. He was at the merch table a lot.
Yeah, so I seen
Yeah,
him. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I
Yep,
know he's
recognize
gonna
him. Yeah,
I
he's a
know he's gonna
co-founder.
see them.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm so sorry, sir, to not remember your name because you are the co-founder.
yeah.
Um, but I like what you said that you joined Red Panda, EYL University, and Trappa's community, because it's true, when you pay for it, you will get more value in it, and then you'll take things serious, right? I find that some people, when they think that they're getting something for free, they're not going to take it as serious. It's not until you have to put money onto it where you're like, "Oh, hold on, I, I
Yep,
actually pay attention."
yep.
Oh, and stuff, right?
Facts.
And then getting him to speak to you like one on one is pretty dope, because they were like, you get a one on one, you get a one on one. I was
Yep,
like,
yep,
and all that good
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah. And even a
And
funny
mhm,
story even behind like that whole networking thing is I
yeah.
saw Sherrard, if you've been following his page now, he's been posting these conversations with people. Have you been seeing it? So he's been posting basically, he had somebody recording his interactions with people at the event, like people coming up to him asking him stuff or whatever. And he said that idea came from him 500.
Oh,
He's like, him
really?
500 is the one that told him he
Yeah.
needs to be recording all of his interactions and use it for content. So you'll see under one of the posts, him 500 saying, good on
Yes.
the execution, because
Nice.
he brought it to him. And I've been enjoying those posts because that's what people want to see, like the real,
True.
you and
And
me, what the conversation is, asking the questions that people really want to know. So,
yeah, and I tried to like I feel like I had a blooper when I had did my reel and stuff, because I wanted to see. I am trying to build more content, but it's tricky because like unless you have someone that's gonna be with you like 24 hours and being with you and recording and stuff, I wish I could get that opportunity more. But I'm definitely gonna try. I'm gonna definitely try to do like my own, like, oh, behind the scenes, this is what's happening and all that good stuff. And I guess in a sense, when it came to your, I'm gonna let people have the inside scoop of what happened, just a little bit, because Ona didn't pay, so you're not get all of it. Right? But I wanted to see how our days were a little bit different. And I know we talked offline, but
right.
we'll give the folks a little juice, a little
Okay.
tea,
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. For
Because
sure.
I think you took notes because I took notes
Yes,
and
I
all that
definitely
good
took
stuff.
notes.
And I think
Definitely took notes.
that's a another thing is I'm happy when I was there. I did see people take notes like around me, but I wish more people took notes because you're not gonna remember everything that they told you.
Nope.
Like, it's better to like yes, you can record and like record the whole thing, but are you really gonna be like recording for the whole entire time? But taking notes and actually writing things down helps you remember things even more. It's
Yep,
like when you went to
absolutely.
school and
Yeah,
stuff.
no, absolutely. And like you said, even if you recorded the whole thing, are you gonna really go back and watch the whole thing again to get something from it? Like you're not sitting
Exactly.
down for 3 hours and going back through the whole thing. It's just, let's be honest, you're not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen.
And it
So a lot
was
of
3 hours,
people,
folks.
yeah, so a lot of people might have just went for the experience just to see, but yeah, the note taking was important. So yeah, I'll talk a bit about my personal experience, you're saying.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
so yeah, so first of all, the when I first got in there, I'll just talk about that.
Yeah.
Seeing all of our people
Hmm.
in that type of environment, like that was in itself like a uplifting thing. It's like you look around, people are dressed nice or representing their own brands. People are having all of these thought-provoking conversations and stuff like that. So the first thing I took away immediately was
Hmm.
just like that sense of community within the city and
That's
just
good.
a sense of like pride. Like I was proud to see all of us at an event like this, knowing we spent however much we spent, depending on what ticket, and
Yeah.
everybody was like there so intentionally. So that was the very first thing I took away before I even got into the actual performance or show per se.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as from the actual show, um, I think I'll start, even though he didn't start it off, I'll start with the 19 Keys
Hmm.
presentation for me was like a spiritual upliftment. And I think it was very important because I feel like the main thing that holds a lot of us back is
Hmm.
just a fear or a lack of belief in what we can do. So again, without giving away too much, like what he spoke about in like,
Hmm.
are you at your highest level? Are you
Mm.
being the highest level of yourself? Like, do you accept your all of your potential and the power you have? Like that was kind of the theme without being too specific.
I like that
So
too.
that was the next major takeaway I had was just that the amount of times I can say for myself, I might doubt myself in a day or in a week. And it's like, for what? It's like you
Hmm.
have the tools, you spend the time, you're intentional, you're a good person, I'd like to think, you have a good heart, like you want positivity for everyone. So it's like, how can you doubt yourself when you have so much positivity and so much value to offer? So that was a major, major part for me was his
Nice.
segment.
Yeah.
And the rest of it was just like you said, we're avid followers. So I'm watching them every single week, all of the different episodes. So it
Hmm.
was just reinforcement. And I think reinforcement is important as well because you hear something once and it's like, oh, okay, you hear it twice and it's like, that's familiar. Hear it 4 or 5 times. Like
Like,
even in
wow.
sales, in sales, I say they believe it takes I think 7 to 10 touches or something like that before you could actually close a sale. And I think
True.
it's kind of the same idea with some of the
Hmm.
stuff. It's like you might hear about buying a stock once and it's like, that sounds cool. You hear it 2 times, 3 times. So it's just the positive reinforcement of, ways to better yourself and build for the future. If
Yeah.
you're on the fence, hearing it one more time or seeing it with all that emotion from the crowd cheering and Ian carrying on and 19 Keys challenging you to be your best self, like that could have
Yes.
been the thing that pushes you to say, you know what, now is the time I really have to take action because they call us to take action. They're saying it's cool now you got the information, but
Now
information
execute.
without action, it doesn't do anything for you. It's like you're just
That's
living
very
for that
true.
feeling. You're not getting anywhere. So to me, those are my biggest takeaways was the people in our city, so our own
Hmm.
community,
Yeah.
the spiritual part for 19 Keys, and then the positive reinforcement into all of the things that I already believed and have been following.
I love that you said it like that, the spirituality of it, because I ain't gonna hold you. When 19 Keys was speaking, I was like, ooh, because he did mention that like there's a war within like the economy with like AI and within yourself. And that's something that, throughout like being an entrepreneur and trying to elevate the business, it is you do have like this war with yourself of doubt and how to push through and have the highest level and all that stuff. And like you mentioned, I know I have a good heart, I have good intentions with the community and everything, that why am I doubting myself when I know the potential I have as well? Like, and it's I'm glad that you mentioned it. I was like, dang, I need to stop doubting myself and believe that I have what it takes, and I have what it takes to be excellent and provide the best service for folks. And I think one thing that hit me, because I have my notes here, um, giving yourself grace. You've survived your worst day.
Yes.
Giving yourself grace. And when he said that, I was like, yep, yep, you're absolutely right. And believe it's real. Like if you know that it's everything's going to be fine, then you should keep believing that and pushing forward. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. And I did get I do have a joke that I have because with Rashad, sorry, he his 10, I think yours is different. His 10 tips was more like a life, like overall life. And the one part that hit was network across.
Yeah,
Stay in your lane. Heard as like, yo, stay in your lane. Why are you trying to get the topper tops? Why not look at the people that are across from you, so you guys are both able to elevate up? And I was like, okay, I see it. I hear you. Like network across, so I always have your elevator pitch, which is true. Like I have one, but I want to tweak it a little bit. But it's also him saying like there's always going to be someone in your life that changes it. Are you going to be
yes,
prepared for that? And
yes.
I was like,
Yep,
okay, okay, I
yep.
got that. Okay. And also one thing was repeated narratives over and over. So before I would just call myself a personal finance trainer, now I'm going to be calling myself the best personal finance trainer, because no one
Absolutely.
can tell me no one can tell me
Hey,
anything. I have testimonies. Like I've helped people get out of debt, save, and all that good stuff. So no one can
yep.
tell me anything.
Their favorite hashtag, the biggest ever.
The biggest ever, exactly. And always find ways to help people. And I think that through this YouTube platform, I that is how I always help people. Even though I know say people don't want to listen, but if more people actually listen, they'll actually realize that, oh snap, every topic that they could think of, I have an episode for it.
That's awesome.
Except like riffs or like retirement and stuff. But like
Right.
if you really think about, like if I really think about it, every topic I could think of it in personal finance has been touched.
That's
So
dope. And you
it
know
took
what's
me.
funny? You know what's
Mm,
funny about that too? You think they don't want to listen because at
mhm,
first they're kind of brushing it off. But I'll tell you something funny too. For
mm,
me,
yeah,
I started sharing because like I said, I really just got into financial literacy very seriously,
yeah,
literally in 2020. Like I've always been
okay,
about money and business and all that kind of stuff, but never really
mhm,
on that serious level of, okay, understanding it and having actionable things I need to be doing and stuff like that. So I decided that I would just start posting pretty
Mm-hmm.
much everything. Like, okay, this is the stock I bought, this is the gain, this is how I did that and that. And then so every day was a post about finance,
Mm-hmm.
self-improvement, mindset,
Mm-hmm.
investing, stuff like that. And then you see a one, two like or comment here and there. But funny enough, even though you
Yeah.
think people aren't watching, over a period of maybe 12 to 18 months, I've
Yeah.
had no less than at least, I think the last time I counted it was like 11 or 12 people that
Yikes.
invest in the market because they saw my post and then on the
Yikes.
low, they might DM me like, I see you're always posting about
Yeah.
this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of interested, but I don't understand how,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And me being me, I'm like, let's go. I was like, anytime you want to have a call or whatever, we can
Yeah.
go step by step. Like I never say, obviously, not giving financial advice. My message is always, this is what I've done and what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something you're interested in, this is where I usually get my information from. Here are the resources.
Mm-hmm.
If you want my opinion about it, I'm always open to a conversation. That's kind of how I've
Yeah.
approached it. And
Yeah.
it's funny because at first it was more like, you start learning stuff and you're excited. So you're going to your cousins and your brothers and everything. You're like, yo, you need to take 10 bands and get some apple. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. And everybody's like,
Chill,
chill
chill,
out,
chill.
relax. Okay, that sounds good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not like you said, not wanting to listen. But then instead, I was like, you know what? Maybe I just need a different approach. So that's when I said, you know what? I'm just gonna put the information there. If anybody
And
is curious,
yeah.
message me anytime you want. And then that's when all of a sudden one of my boys is like, yeah, I'm thinking of investing in this and this. What do you think? Lo
Mm-hmm.
and behold, they put up like a whatever amount
Nice.
into an Apple, into a this or whatever. Other people, I started talking with my other people and they also said it was good. So thank you for posting it. It made me want to invest or whatever. So it's the little things. So we're doing the work.
That's
You might
good.
not see it right away, but
True, true. And that's a great feeling, no?
of
Because like
course.
not only that is the I actually get a high off of having these type of conversations. Even like,
Absolutely.
I like talking about like flag football, soca, dance hall and all that stuff. But when people like want to come and talk about personal finance, I'm like, I'm listening. I'm like, I'm listening. I'm excited. And like even what I try is to have like I don't want to talk prim proper like this is what you should do for
Yep.
but at the same time I need to realize that there are different audience for different type of things, but I do want people to be comfortable to have these discussions because this is not what we had like 20 odd years ago. Like we
Oh,
weren't having these conversations.
right.
So I'm really excited about that. And the one thing I liked about EYL was the event was they researched about Canadian stocks because I was scared that they weren't gonna do that, and I was like, let me see what
No.
kind of stocks you're gonna talk about, eh?
So
But I
yeah,
did
so
ask Ian questions. I was like, what Canadian stocks do you think is great for us? And he did,
yeah,
you know. And
yep. So
do you
that
remember
was dope.
any stocks that you wrote down that you were like, let me take a look at this.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Because to be honest, again, because part of the problem is everything that we consume is for the US. So I never really got into investing into too much in
Mm,
our stock exchange outside of our S&P. So like our
okay, the S&Ps.
ZSP.TOs and stuff. Yeah, the S&P
Yes.
500. So like our own versions that follow those. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like we were talking about offline, like that HXT I saw, and I was like, oh, never heard of that one before. So that might be
Right?
something to look at because I've in the past I invested in Horizon stuff before, but it was
Mm-hmm.
cannabis. Funny story. If I could be quick story about how I started investing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Quick
I want to
story if
hear
I
it. I
could
want to
talk
hear
about how I started
it.
investing. So
Mm,
2017,
yes.
um, at work, and me and my boy are just in the back, like just we're always researching stuff, like we're information junkies. And I
Yeah.
come across an article about this guy that had back in 2009 had bought like $100 worth of Bitcoin or something for an experiment, right?
Oh my God.
And then
Yeah.
they were like, they're like the value of that $100 of Bitcoin now, and it was like something crazy, like 300 and something million dollars or whatever.
You're
So
like,
I'm mad now. I'm punching air. I'm like, you mean to tell me I
yeah,
could have just and the thing why I'm upset about it is because my friend and I that are information junkies, we heard about Bitcoin from back in those times, 2010, but we're looking like, I don't
yeah,
understand it, virtual money. And this is again lessons where it's important. So when you see something, you don't have to
research.
believe everything you see or hear,
Mm-hmm.
but go do the research for yourself. There might
Exactly.
be something you can learn. Don't
Yeah.
just push everything to the side because you don't understand it. So, anyways, lo and behold, I realized I could have, been somewhere on my own island driving Lamborghinis since I was 30 years old, but that didn't happen.
Ah.
Fine. So now I got mad. So as soon as I got home, and this is where acting comes in, as soon as I got home, I
Mm,
start going on Google. How do you buy Bitcoin? What are the top five cryptocurrencies? And right away, literally all of the money I
mm.
had in my account at the time,
Yeah.
I just took it all,
Yeah.
half in Bitcoin, half in Ethereum. And that was literally how I started. And then same thing with
Dang.
the stock market, like
Yeah.
start to see stuff and people making money. And then this is around the time when they're saying they're going to legalize marijuana in
Yeah.
Canada. So me
That's
thinking I'm
crazy.
so smart, so I'm like, okay, perfect. Here's what I'm gonna do. So I
Yeah.
went on Google and
Mm-hmm.
started Googling top marijuana
Mm-hmm.
stocks.
That's
And
a
then
great way to search though.
right. So then I saw what I did was I looked at maybe 5 to 8 lists and I make
Mm-hmm.
note of whatever were the top five in every list. I'm like, those
Boom.
have to be the ones, right? So
Piece of
to
cake.
tie that all together, Horizons had a
Mm.
ETF, a marijuana ETF at the time. So those were
Nice.
some of my first investments was
Nice.
getting in like that. And what I'll do is every time I got paid, I was so determined that I was gonna be rich in 3 years that I was like, every time I get paid, I just
Yeah.
would take whatever I could, extra
Mm-hmm.
200, 300, and every time I got paid, I
Mm-hmm.
just buy some more, buy some more.
So I need you to hold on. I need you to repeat that because I need people to realize that paying yourself first is one of the biggest things to create wealth.
Yes, absolutely.
Like,
And I
gosh.
don't know if we need to come up with a better phrase for that because people are
Mm,
here paying themselves first
mm,
and they're thinking, oh, that doesn't make any sense. I have to pay my mortgage and I have to pay my phone and I have to pay that. That doesn't make any sense. But
yeah.
I saw
Cause,
someone post one time,
mm,
if you lose your job, Rogers ain't gonna be able to give you no money to eat.
like,
Telus ain't gonna be able to
oh,
give you no money to eat.
muffin.
BMW ain't gonna be able to give you no money to eat. And to tie some of this together, I
Mm,
started investing in 2017. Of
yeah.
course, didn't get rich in 3 years, so I kind
It's
of
okay.
slowed down on it
Yeah.
and put it down for a couple of
Mm,
years because hit some hard times and I was like, I don't have extra money to be putting
mm,
into this stuff or whatever. Fast forward to 2020,
yeah.
company that I've been working for the past 8 years goes bankrupt, lose my job
Ah,
January. So this is even before the Panamera wave, right?
ah,
So
yes.
January, job's gone. Day
Mm,
before my birthday at that. Cool.
ah,
So that happens. And then
mm,
March happens with this Panamera situation. So now there's really no work going on. Long story short, in
mm,
between January 2020
yeah.
and today,
Yeah.
I've only worked a total of like 9 months because I'd finally
Dang.
gotten another job last year and
Mm,
then it was Shopify, part of the big tech layoffs. So 9 months, gone again. And I'm saying all this to say, if I
golly.
never started investing and putting that money aside in 2017, when I looked at that Bitcoin and Ethereum, I had bought AMD at $10.41
Right? I said,
back in 2017.
yo,
So fast forward
yo.
to 2020, 2021,
Yes.
that's the money I used from those investments. What I used to get into when Mark Monroe came on talking about these leap options and all this stuff. I was able to take that money that was
Mm,
sitting there compounding from 2017 and
yes.
buy some contracts or whatever those happen to do 300%. Then some other contracts happen to do 200 and 180. So having that money put down and
Yes.
compounding over 4 or 5 years
I'm
literally
so happy you
saved
said
me,
this.
literally
I'm
saved me.
I'm so happy you just said that. Like legit, cause fam. I'm so happy you said that, Dale. Like I'm so happy and oh, imagine because sometimes I like to call that like a safety net. And imagine if you didn't have that safety net or had that thought like, let me put money for a rainy day. And golly, look how the rainy day came and you've been utilizing or maximizing on it. Yo.
Exactly. And again, to go on that fact, there's a lot of people also, I think,
Hmm.
confuse saving for a rainy day. It's not necessarily, again, my
Hmm.
opinion.
By
It
all
doesn't
means, sir.
necessarily mean that you're taking whatever money and just putting it down in your savings account or under your mattress or whatever. You have to
Yeah.
understand what inflation is. You have to understand what compound interest is and why investing is important because oftentimes, depending on how you invest, you can at the very least
Hmm.
beat that inflation so your money isn't dwindling down. If
Yeah.
you put $10,000 under the mattress in 2010, what you could buy in 2010 with that 10,000
You can't.
today,
You
it's
can't.
just it's just not going to happen. So I have a
Hmm.
saying. I always say investing is greater than saving, meaning that you can still trade. That's what I do now. It's like when I get a big chunk of money or I have some extra money, there's no such
Yeah.
thing as extra money, but some money that I don't need to pay bills or whatever, I'll just go buy something safe, like like you said, some ETFs or some indexes, because I know if something does happen, like it has to me before, it's easy
Hmm.
for me to just go and sell it. But at least while I
True.
don't need it, it's gaining its 8% a year or it's 5% a year or depending on how good the year is. 2020 went crazy. So you might have gotten a 20, 25% on an ETF. And then now when I need it for
Hmm.
something, I can just sell it and then,
And
like
then
I
get
like to
back.
say, hustle it, stack, invest,
Yep.
repeat, right? So
Yes, that's
hustle it back
actually,
out,
I
stack
already
it
know what
up.
the title's gonna be.
Yeah, exactly. So you hustle up your money, you stack
Yeah.
it up, you use it
Hmm.
to invest in something that will bring back more money, and then you
Yeah.
repeat the process. That's my thing. Hustle, stack, invest, repeat.
Golly. And I think once what we talked about, ooh, what did Isaac talk about that stuck with you?
Isaac, because it was the real estate thing, what stuck with me is just how he got started. Like just having the started early, I should say. So he started investing in real estate, I believe when he said 23, I believe he said is when he started investing
Yeah.
into real estate. So to
Hmm.
have that mindset to be investing from that early and to see what it's allowed him to do all these
Hmm.
years later. It's like he's a young guy. And I don't know if we want to talk numbers here, but the numbers they said that he has in
Yeah.
real estate investments is
It's
numbers
crazy.
that you don't hear about, especially in our city. So it's
Hmm.
like that was a major thing was just that starting early and how many different ways there are to do it because then he started to branch out into everything. So he started just investing in an investment property. Then
Yes.
it turned into being an agent. Then it turned into being the youngest person that has a brokerage. I think the first black
Nice.
brokerage, I believe he said,
Golly.
right? So then he has a brokerage. Then he
Hmm.
starts buying up all these pre-constructions, running up some M's. Then he realizes, hey, we need to get ahead of the pipeline. And then having
Hmm.
that foresight to say, how do I get into development? And then here we are. And then with all of that money, knowing
Hmm.
that education is important and reaching back and saying, we need a tech fund. So let me start
Yeah.
a fund that helps Black entrepreneurs in tech start businesses. And let me go to my school and force them to put up money. And let me, like, you know what I mean? So to me, it was
Yeah.
just seeing how no matter where you're at, you just first
Hmm.
have to start and then don't stop. Like always think bigger. Like be grateful for wherever you
Hmm.
are, but don't
True.
limit yourself. He could have said, I have a 1, 2 investment properties, I'm good. But he said, no, it's like our community needs more. And to build wealth, we need developers, we need affordable housing, we need all those things.
That's
If he
true.
doesn't do it, who does it? And that's what I
Facts.
think people have to understand. If we don't do it, nobody's coming to
True.
save us. If we don't do it, nobody's going to do it for us. So I
That's
think that
true.
was like my big takeaway from his
I,
story.
I like that because with Gerard, he was mentioning because I'm not in. I shouldn't say I'm not into. I haven't dabbled into real estate as much, but when he talked about joint ventures or wholesaling, I was like, hold on, what is wholesaling? I need to hear
Yep.
this. And
Yep.
I was really intrigued. And he said he has like 50 to 100 units right now. So like his goal is to get like 1,000 units. And I'm like, okay, this
Yep.
makes sense. And then he mentioned I only give I'll only give two cities. He mentioned which cities to look at. Um, Niagara Falls and Bowmanville. I
Yep.
only saw those because those I'll tell you
Yep.
the others offline.
Oh, I got the notes.
Oh,
I had someone in there. I had
oh, you
someone
had
in there
access.
taking
You
notes on the other day. I wasn't playing around. If I couldn't be there, I was gonna find a way. Got to be
right?
resourceful. I tapped into my network. That's the importance of
That
networking and
that is
like-minded
true.
people.
That is very true. And then him, instead of looking at because I think a lot of people look at triplex, duplex and stuff to
Yeah,
look at apartment buildings. I'm like, yo, that's true. That's true. And I think the last thing I want to mention or ask is how did you feel about the information about AI?
I loved it because I'm a technology junkie.
Mm-hmm.
So once I heard about Chat GPT right away, I went on there and started playing in it. And I use it. Like I've used it to write bios. I've used it
Mm-hmm.
to write cover letters. I've used it to give me ideas for posts. I've used
Mm-hmm.
it for all types of stuff. And that's just scratching the surface. So I took note of the other ones they mentioned that I didn't hear of before. And
Yeah.
I literally just went to all of them and I made a bookmark folder with all of them. And that's what I've been
Nice.
doing over the weekend is actually clicking on each of them to see like what they are and how they can be utilized. But people need to stop being afraid of technology and AI. AI can
Mm-hmm.
only take your job if
Future
you're not
proof.
in the know of how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Use the AI to create another job for yourself. Use the AI to create
The
something that's
assistant.
so valuable to your company that they can't get rid of you.
That's true.
Use
Or
it to be 10 of yourselves. If you have something that you know you're making a little bit of money doing, find a way to use it so that you can be doing 10 times the amount of work for yourself. There's so many ways to use technology. If you don't grow and
mhm,
evolve, you get left behind. And that's just how
that's
it is, period. There's no easy, soft kind of way to say it. You either get with what's going on or you get left. That's it.
true. And I think I'm definitely gonna look at the stocks that are intertwining or bringing AI into their company as well because 10 years from now, 10 years
Yeah,
from now, golly. And I
yeah,
think that the I have been dabbling in it. If there's times I'm restless, is because I've been working on that. I'm like, I'm finding new things. I'm like, oh shit, this is so cool. Like, I legit showed someone that I can make a presentation within seconds.
yep, yep,
Within seconds. And
yep.
I think the only thing I want is to help me get with like YouTube shorts or reels. Yo, once I
Yeah.
get AI to do that,
There's we'll
it's a
talk after.
wrap.
There's one I
Yeah.
saw that actually can take like even say you make a long form video like this, you can
Yeah.
put in the URL for your YouTube video and it'll automatically break it
Shut
down
up.
into
Yo,
yeah.
yo, we're coming
So
off just now.
there's all kind of stuff that's going on.
No, it's actually ridiculous. Like I think in the last 2 weeks or so, I've been obsessed, and I'm like, yo, cause especially I think they mentioned having a team, and if you can't have a team, then yo, AI can be your team. that you need,
Absolutely.
right? So that's
Absolutely.
one thing that I've definitely like took away as well. And just remembering to stick to your plan.
Yes.
Sticking to your plan. And that's one thing working with like doing with stocks and options, I sometimes got greedy with my emotion. I got emotional and I got
If I could talk to you about some losses right now.
fan. I so like things like that. I think I know that someone's gonna watch this and be like, "Well, I don't have a lot of time to do all this," but I think if we at least take, like half an hour, either if it's a half an hour a day, half an hour a week, to just focus on how to be a better person and how to create like wealth, it's it's a great thing. Like there's
It's
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 phenomenal.
imperative. Listen,
Yeah.
I always say, I think I might even made a post about this that
Yes.
was basically saying if you're comfortable where you are, then
Mm.
continue doing what you're doing. It should be okay. If you want more out of your
Hmm.
life, it means you have to do things differently because everything you've done up to this point has only gotten you to where you are. So if you don't get out of
True.
your comfort zone, if you don't take leaps, and like you said, stick to a plan, but then
Hmm.
also know nothing's perfect. A plan is just a plan. Once
True.
you get to executing, things might change and whatever. You have to go with it. Don't be
That.
scared. I know it's easy to say, don't be scared, but I think part of the don't being scared part is if you have confidence in yourself and what you're trying to do,
True.
then fear won't have any place to live because you know what you're trying to do, and then you believe in yourself and your ability. So that ties
Mm.
back into that.
I love that. And wait, do you have any shout outs to give to anyone that does helps you with your brands and anything?
Uh, I do have my business partner, Erica, that helps me. She does like the a lot of the designs and like
Nice.
all of
Bigger
our
up, yes.
yeah, all of our little cards and stuff. Like she does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff
Nice.
and like again, we really got together through some of this stuff because she wasn't necessarily big on the financial literacy stuff, but
Yeah.
through our friendship or
Okay.
whatever, it started to
Hmm.
get more into it and more into it. And she's like, why don't you design some stuff around it? And so she came up with
Nice.
this beautiful Black Billionaires, and we have some fresh stuff in the pipeline that you'll be seeing coming soon.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah,
And
definitely want to shout her out.
nice.
And yeah, just anybody that's out here doing stuff, man, sharing to the cause. Like we have a responsibility. Like I don't want to all lightheartedness aside, like we have a responsibility. Think about how we grew up and then think
Hmm.
about how you want your children and their children to grow up. Like I don't have children myself. I have a lot of nieces and young
Yeah.
sisters and stuff. I don't want them having to go through and make all the mistakes we made. It doesn't make any sense. We already made the mistakes.
Yeah.
So just as you take making money and paying bills serious, if you can take, if you can binge watch a show on Netflix, you can pull up an EYL and put a save for later and watch an episode half an hour at a time. Like just make the effort
Say it
to
again.
yeah, just make the effort to learn something new every day. Like I have a thing I like to do where I call trying to
Mhm.
secure a win for the day. So for me, a
Yes.
win could be going to the gym. It could be
Nice.
reading a chapter in a book, watching an episode of something on Earn Your Leisure, just doing something that makes me smarter or better than I was yesterday. Like we don't have to have these huge, lofty goals all the time to achieve every day. Like start
Yeah.
small,
Yeah.
read a chapter, watch one episode, go to the gym, like do,
Mm.
call your financial advisor or someone that
Hmm.
can help you or something. Like just do something every
True.
day that
To
helps
to
and
better
you'll notice
yourself.
it over time. Yeah,
I like that because and or eating better, you know,
exactly.
except it's bun and cheese weekend, so and snapper. But yeah, like I like that, like setting a goal, or meditating or positive affirmations. I think I definitely want to start that. And that's something like 19 Keys mentioned. So or Ian
Yep.
said, like, I deserve to be rich. I deserve to be wealthy. I deserve to have freedom. Like that, saying that and repeating it to yourself so you can believe it, so you can actually achieve the things is key. And that's why I had to put that at the end because it's just a perfect way to remember that you deserve to have all these great things in your life, but you also have to put in the work and execute. And
Absolutely.
without that and all that good stuff. And Dale, how can the folks find you? Because we're and I love the way that the social media works is that you can find someone like literally like this simple like I literally just saw you and I saw your brand and I was like, yeah, come like and I feel like you're a real down to earth individual, so I appreciate like connecting with you and having a great conversation because these are the things that I would love folks to hear so they're able to take it in and like share it with everyone and all that good stuff. So how can the folks find you?
Absolutely. First of all, like, thank you for having me on. I was so happy just to even get the invitation because I was like, this is exactly why I want to do this so we can get together. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
definitely on Instagram, if you go search for the Black Wealth Co., you'll find my page, and on there it's like just financial literacy, inspiration, entrepreneurship. And the main purpose for the brand is to share information, advocate
Mhm.
for Black wealth and building our communities, and just helping to connect people. Like, let's connect. This is what this is. This was a quick, easy connection. And who knows what we're going to be doing from here, but it's just as simple
Amazing
as
thing.
literally saying, you know what, I like what someone's doing. Just reach out. They might respond, they might not, but you won't know unless you reach out. So
That's
just
true.
take the chance, man. No risk, no reward. It sounds cliche, but literally, you do not get a reward without risking something. So
That is very true. I love it. And I'm definitely going to put in the show notes. This is going to be a bonus exclusive episode this week. And I'm so grateful that you agreed and all that good stuff. And do you have like one more advice for the folks? Because you've been spitting bars this whole time.
Uh, no, nothing really new. Just if you haven't started, or if you feel like you're in a place where your finances are out of control and you don't understand, like it's nothing to be ashamed of. Some of us learn about it early, some of us never learn about it, but if you feel like you're in that place, like don't be afraid to reach out to somebody or at least follow some pages and do whatever. Don't feel helpless. Don't feel like a victim. Like we all have an opportunity. As long as we wake up every day, we have an
Yes.
opportunity to do better for ourselves. So just if you're struggling with finances or struggling with financial literacy or don't understand all this stuff and it's too crazy, you have
Yeah.
her here for you, multiple YouTube videos, you have
Mhm.
different pages you can follow. Like there are people out here that really care about helping people and just reach out. That's all I can say. Don't be afraid to reach out.
Yes, thank you, Dale. Blessings. And I'm gonna give a shout out to CT Design, no, Designs from CT. Craig and wow, Tabby. I wanted to say they gave me like exclusive midnight delivery and everything. I was like, wait, I need another hoodie and stuff. I love hoodies. I'm soon gonna be more professional with like polo shirts and stuff. And I
Right?
should be getting merch soon because people are
Dope.
asking and I'm like, okay.
I might need
But
that connect too because I need some stuff made myself. So
yes, sir, I
more
got you.
connections and collaborations.
And frequency event promotions also help me. That's like my go-to sponsorship. I'm gonna talk to you about that offline as well. But on that note, folks, I know we're hungry, want to get snapper, bun and cheese, and all that good stuff. So until next time, folks, Oh shucks, wrong one. Until next time, folks, enjoy this exclusive episode and make sure you reach out to Dale because he has some. I loved everything that you said today. So
Thank
big up
you.
yourself. All right. Until next time, folks. Boom, bam, bam.
Financial literacy, knowledge is a must. So link the flip boss, watch the result flash, and watch your life change and feel a better cause. You have a business or a plan and want to make it. Yeah, flip and floss, are the want to manifest it. Yeah, and if you want to better manage all your credit, call the boss, flip and floss, no doubt, then we do it. Yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, greatness in our blood because we're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, boots up your knowledge for your minimal cost. Hey, yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Greatness in our blood because we're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, up your knowledge for your minimal cost.